myth, the man, the legend. There's a lot of legends you can talk about in wrestling. One of the ones I think that doesn't quite get enough of the credit for what he's done is Harley Race. First and foremost, he was legitimately one of the toughest guys in pro wrestling ever. I mean, he could take a beating and give it back. He was a multi-time NWA World Champion at a time where that was important. You had to get promoters across the country to agree on who the champion was. And everybody had their guy. And unless they all agreed, you would have a problem. Harley Race was one of the few guys that go, okay, we'll go with him. Now, Harley showed up, and in the first ever Starrcade, which is a major event that people don't realize how major it is, he's the guy who handed Flair the world title. Now, that wasn't Flair's first world title, but it was probably his most significant, because Harley legit was the real deal. He was the guy. He didn't just roll over for anybody. But also, when he did business, he did business. Now, there is the story. Some people don't. He knows that this is true. That Vince McMahon flew him up to New York and offered him money to basically break Ric Flair's legs. Harley told him in the bathroom that, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do business. I made a promise, and I'm going to keep it. Supposedly, that Vince was so moved by the fact that Harley would just walk up to him and just say it very bluntly about why he was doing what he was doing, that's why he treated him so well in the World Wrestling Federation. I argue that, Vince didn't really treat Harley Race very well in the World Wrestling Federation. He regulated him to the mid-card, and he did give him the King gimmick. The King gimmick worked. I think it was pretty good and fun. And it was a good thing with Junkyard Dog and him when Junkyard Dog stole the crown and the cape. That all worked. But honestly, it's not really very memorable. It's somewhat laughable, and it isn't the heights that Harley Race had earlier. Now, Harley was moving up in years at this point, so it's not like he could, razzle-dazzle like he used to. So you need to be fair about that. After that, he went and he managed that guy, Big Van Vader. And, Harley eventually faded away. And, all we had was memories at that point. And for me, it was one of those guys, it was like one of the first times I realized, these guys aren't going to be around forever. There was a time I really thought wrestling was going to stay the same forever. And then you realize, you see ECW, that it has to evolve. So, but Harley Race was cool. And he was a good heel, massively good heel. And he could flip-flop if he needed to, didn't matter. And he really is a guy that, Ric Flair always gives him credit, of course, because, like Flair did to Sting, Harley Race handed him his career. And Flair knew the value of that. So, I will say, I wanted a Harley Race. I don't mind that it's King Harley Race, even though that gimmick I thought was not the best for him. It is what he did in WWF, so we'll go with it. I would much prefer a Starrcade Harley Race, but I don't think they're going to go out of their way to do that one. It was really funny, too, because I went to my local Walmart, and this is when a lot of expenses were hitting me hard. I saw Harley, and I was like, oh, I really want Harley. And I started to walk up to the counter, and I said, I just can't. And I thought for sure I was going to put him back, and I thought for sure that was it. One and done. And lo and behold, the following payday, I walk in, and there is another new case of that same greatest hits wave. My Walmart never gets two of the same wave. So that's a miracle. And there was Harley sitting there. The only one that hadn't sold out was that ugly ass Undertaker. Ugh. But grabbed Harley immediately, and I was like, I'm getting you this time, buddy. I'm glad I did. He did not stay around very long. So yeah, really happy to have this in my collection. It's really just a figure I really like. That'll wrap up Infinite Realms. Don't forget to like and subscribe.